Be human.
A new study from the Journal of American Medical Association shows that legalizing pot might discourage teen use. So legalizing marijuana doesn't seem to encourage teens to use it. It might actually discourage it. And they took data from 1.4 million high school students between 1993 and 2017. This data was collected by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention for its Youth Risk Behavior Survey. It looked at data analyzed about teen marijuana use before and after medical marijuana became legal in 27 states. And 7 states also legalized recreational marijuana use during the period. And teen marijuana use didn't change much after medical marijuana was legalized. And in states where legalized recreational use happened, the number of teens who said they'd smoked pot in the previous 30 days actually dropped 8%, while the number who used it 10 or more times fell by 9%. Now, one theory that's floated about why it goes down is that the teens may find it more difficult to access marijuana if drug dealers are replaced by licensed dispensaries that require proof of age and possibly contributing to the decrease. Kate, what do you make of this study that shows that in states where legal recreational marijuana use, teens actually decrease in their usage?
So I think that the piece about the recreational stuff and the access is kind of accurate, but let's be real. We've been in this war on drugs for a really long time and trying to limit access, and people still find drugs and they still use them. So I think it has more to do with just sort of the classic adolescent brain and social development, where it's almost as though when you tell a teen or somebody to not push the red button, they want to push the red button because they want to explore the things that are taboo, explore the things that they are not supposed to do, engage in risky behaviors, even unhealthy behaviors. And that is a typical adolescent's path. And so as soon as they legalize it and say, okay, yeah, recreational use is okay. It's like they can't flex anymore and say, oh, well, look at me, like I'm doing this, as they're trying to figure out where they are. But that's my opinion.
I would buy both explanations, and I think there's probably a little bit of truth to both of those things. The thing I like about this, though, is this is why we need research, right? We've talked about a lot of things that sometimes research just confirms things that we already know. It's like, if you treat people kindly in a relationship, your relationship goes better, that kind of thing. But sometimes it's counterintuitive. Sometimes it goes against intuition. And so this is one of those examples. We talked in a previous podcast about, there's been an assumption that the rate of teen sexual involvement going down was because of availability of porn. But some of the early research says it's the opposite, that the kids that consume porn are also the kids that are sleeping around, so that's probably not it. We've seen this with video games. There's some competing research. It goes back and forth, but there's at least some that says that violent video games may actually decrease expressions of real life violence. So I like that for that reason, is that this is one of those things that you're like, okay, we're going to legalize weed and we're going to see these big spikes in kids using more marijuana, and actually the trend is toward less. So I think that's kind of cool.
The one thing I'm interested, and I don't know how we're going to find this out, but I do think there's a relationship here. There's some type of correlation. But we also look at the larger data around teens, and there's a decrease in all types of risky behaviors. And so the question becomes, even if we didn't legalize marijuana in these states, would we see a natural decrease because we're seeing a decrease in driving, risky behavior, drinking, getting behind the wheel, drinking and driving,
right.
Teen sex? It's hard to know.
But what we do know, though, is that it certainly didn't result in a spike up. Like, in other words, it didn't increase it. So
absolutely.
And I do think there are going to be some benefits, too, in terms of the consequences that happen for, illegally smoking marijuana recreationally, where a teen catches a charge and then it impacts their hopes for college, access to financial aid. Their lives are significantly impacted by just a stupid, dumb adolescent mistake. And I know that's not true for all situations, but I know that can happen. So I think there are some pros from that angle as well.
Thanks for watching this Being Human segment from the Shrink Tank podcast. To watch the full episode, click here, or to check out previous episodes, click here.